Ever wonder why a massive, globally dominant giant like Blockbuster completely collapsed while Netflix absolutely thrived and, well, took over the world? Think about it. It wasn't because Blockbuster just suddenly forgot how to rent out movies. It's because they completely failed to anticipate a massive, unseen external threat, the rise of streaming and wildly shifting consumer behavior. Basically, they were staring at their own shells instead of scanning the horizon.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to treat the modern business landscape exactly like what it is, a chaotic, unpredictable jungle. And to survive and thrive out there, you're going to need a highly specialized survival guide. You need a strategic radar. So we're diving deep into the critical concept of environmental analysis, and we'll look at exactly how you can use it to turn market unpredictability into your ultimate strategic advantage.
All right, here is our roadmap for today. 1. Navigating the business environment. 2. Internal versus external forces. 3. Scanning with SWOT analysis. 4. Decoding with the PEST-LEFT framework. And 5. Making strategic decisions. Let's get into it.
Part 1. Navigating the business environment. So, the modern market is dynamic, it's incredibly complex, and it is highly uncertain. Standing still? Yeah, that simply isn't an option anymore. If you aren't adapting, you are actively falling behind. To navigate this, we use what I like to call our business radar system, which is environmental analysis. Officially, this is the systematic evaluation of both an organization's internal capabilities and its external surroundings. It's truly a foundational element of strategic management. You aren't just gathering all this intelligence for fun, right? You're doing it to support effective decision-making, shape your long-term strategy, and proactively respond to major shifts way before they ever hit your bottom line.
Because let's face it, the modern market is sheer chaos. First off, it's highly dynamic. Just look at the introduction of digital payment systems like UPI in India. That completely disrupted traditional cash-based retail almost overnight, forcing small businesses to adapt literally instantly. It's also complex, with all these interconnected forces like customer demand and government rules tangling together. Then there's the uncertainty. Think about how the COVID-19 pandemic triggered sudden lockdowns that just decimated travel companies out of nowhere. It's multifaceted too, meaning a strict new environmental law might be a massive threat to a plastic manufacturer, but a huge opportunity for a biodegradable packaging startup. And finally, it has a far-reaching impact. Even a tiny change, like a slight bump in global fuel prices, can completely wipe out a logistics company's profit margins.
Moving on to Part 2. Internal versus external forces.
Okay, so it's time to actually categorize all of this market chaos. The best way to think about it is the difference between looking inside your own ship and looking outside at the weather. Your internal environment consists of the controllable factors right there within your organization. We're talking about your culture, your management structure, your employee behavior, and your resources. A firm with a highly skilled workforce and a culture of creativity, they can leverage that as a huge competitive advantage. On the flip side, your external environment encompasses all those uncontrollable outside factors, sweeping government policies, shifting market trends, and of course, aggressive competitors.
And it's important to realize these two environments don't just exist in a vacuum, they nest together perfectly into one comprehensive ecosystem. The broader business environment encompasses both your internal capabilities and the external realities. Successful strategic management completely depends on your ability to continuously analyze both of these areas and align them dynamically. You've got to embrace those external opportunities while using your unique internal strengths to mitigate any potential risks.
Part 3. Scanning with SWOT analysis. Now we're moving from academic theory into our very first, highly practical, everyday diagnostic framework. You've probably heard of it, SWOT. It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What makes this tool so powerful is that it forces a split focus. It demands that you are brutally honest about your internal capabilities, your strengths and weaknesses, while simultaneously scanning the external horizon for opportunities and threats. It is all about alignment. The key question is, how can your specific internal strengths help you capitalize on an external opportunity?
Let's look at a real-world example of an electric vehicle manufacturer, kind of like a Tesla. Internally, they have massive strengths, right? A strong, recognized brand and advanced battery technology. But internally, they also face real weaknesses, like high production costs and maybe some charging infrastructure limits. Now, look externally. They have incredible opportunities with the surging global demand for sustainable EVs and breakthroughs in autonomous driving. But there are looming threats too, increasing competition from legacy automakers waking up and uncertain government policies. By mapping all of this out, the EV company knows exactly where to direct its strategic planning to secure its spot in the market.
Section 4. Decoding with the PESTLE framework.
All right, let's shift our focus entirely to that vast, uncontrollable external environment. If SWOT is your general diagnostic tool, PESTLE is your ultimate wide-sweeping, long-range radar. It's an absolutely essential strategic framework used to systematically analyze and monitor the macro-environmental factors that influence your operation. We're talking about political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental forces. Spotting these massive industry-shifting trends before they hit your business, that is exactly what separates the winners from the losers.
Let's apply this directly to a highly dynamic landscape, the Indian market. It's wild to see how interconnected these macro drivers are. Politically, initiatives like Make in India heavily encourage domestic manufacturing through supportive policies. Economically, the rollout of GST completely rewired supply chains by unifying taxation. Socially, changing consumer lifestyles and brands like Reliance Jio driving cheap smartphone access have totally revolutionized digital literacy. Technologically, the Digital India push is forcing rapid automation across pretty much all sectors. Legally, navigating things like the Companies Act requires strict corporate governance. And environmentally, regulatory mandates like the National Solar Mission are pushing industries to adopt greener practices instantly. Honestly, a shift in just one of these letters can mandate an entirely new strategic direction for a company.
And finally, Part 5. Making strategic decisions.
Look, gathering all this radar data is completely useless unless it actually translates into decisive action. All of this intelligence feeds directly into Porter's 5 Forces model, developed by Michael E. Porter. This is another vital framework, and it evaluates the competitive dynamics of your specific market. It helps managers assess the threat of new entrants, the bargaining power of suppliers, the bargaining power of buyers, the threat of substitute products, and the sheer rivalry among existing competitors. Evaluating these 5 forces gives leaders incredible insight into industry structure and profitability. It ensures that when you do make a strategic move, like entering a new industry or defending your current market turf, it's backed by solid, actionable intelligence.
So, you might be wondering, how do you actually gather this intelligence on a day-to-day basis? Well, there are a few distinct approaches, and you really should match the method to your specific situation. First is the systematic approach. This is your continuous, organized data collection, like constantly tracking regulatory changes so you stay compliant. Second is the ad hoc approach. Say you're launching a brand new product today, you'd use an ad hoc approach to do a rapid, episodic study of the local competition right then and there. And third is the processed form approach, which relies on secondary data, like reading economic forecasts or buying private market research reports. Often, the best organizations will blend all 3 of these to remain as agile as possible.
But we need to be grounded here for a second. The radar isn't flawless. Environmental analysis often just offers a static snapshot of a dynamic, constantly evolving environment. It definitely has its limitations. It cannot guarantee accurate predictions of the future because of the inherent volatility of things like political upheavals or sudden economic crashes. There's also the real danger of information overload causing decision paralysis or biases where analysts emphasize the wrong data. But despite these limitations, it remains an absolutely critical tool. You just have to combine it with continuous monitoring and a highly adaptive strategy.
Which brings us to the ultimate question you need to ask yourself today. What unseen external threat could disrupt your industry tomorrow? Is there a new technology, a shifting social trend, or a looming legal regulation on the horizon? And more importantly, using the tools of environmental analysis we've explored today, are you actually ready for it? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Now get out there, turn on your radar, and start navigating the jungle.